Discuss and consider approval of an ordinance authorizing the issuance of City of New Braunfels, Texas general obligation bonds, levying of an ad valorem tax in support of the bonds, approving a payment agent registrar agreement, an official statement, and a purchase agreement, establishing procedures for selling and delivery of one or more series of the bonds, and authorizing other matters relating to the bonds. Ms. Paulos, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Sandy Paulos, Director of Finance. I'm going to be presenting on this item and the next one as well with Brian Cunningham with Samco Capital. He's our financial advisor. And also Bart Fowler with McCall Parker Swarton is our bond counsel, and he'll be here for questions also. As stated in the agenda item, there's a $16,060,000 general obligation bond sale for your consideration. This will support projects from the 2013 and 2019 bond programs. Approximately $2.5 million will be the final issuance of the 2013 bond program, and it is supporting Proposition 2 drainage projects. Since work has already been completed on all the 2013 bond projects, these funds are going to be designated for two 2019 bond projects that are drainage related. They are the Klein Road Improvements Phase 2 and Goodwin Conrad's Lane Reconstruction. The remaining $13.5 million is for the 2019 bond program and is also the final issuance of that bond program. And it will support Proposition 1 street projects, and there's a very small portion that is for Proposition 3 public safety facilities and projects. These bonds will be sold in a parameter sale, which is basically means that council is delegating their authority to the city manager, the assistant city manager, and the finance director to enter into a bond purchase agreement that falls within a certain set of parameters. These are outlined in your agenda write-up, and Ryan will be going over those in more detail. This method is recommended by our financial advisor due to the volatility in the current market and provides flexibility to ensure the bonds can be priced and sold at the best possible terms. This is the city's second time to issue bonds through a parameter sale, and I think the first time was the 2021 refunding. And I'll turn it over to Ryan now.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Ryan Cunningham, Samco Capital Markets Financial Advisor to the city. So why are we choosing to do a delegated authority parameter sale? Just take a step back. Historically, the way it's worked with the city is we go out, sell bonds on the day of a city council meeting, we bring the results to you here on a Monday, and you authorize those bonds. But what we're seeing now is really record volatility right now, and in time you're preparing your budget and all these different things, just got the taxable values. But the market's obviously very volatile. Friday we saw a 15 basis point swing in the 10-year treasury market when the jobs report came out. So this is not, the normal way, maybe 2 or 3 basis points a day. So what we are recommending is that you do a parameter sale. We're seeking the delegated authority from the council to go out and sell the bonds next week. We would anticipate it being on Wednesday. So, and also by going in the middle of the week, your underwriters have Monday and Tuesday to market the issue. Your bond rating was affirmed to AA. New Braunfels has a great track record in the market. It's a known entity. So we don't anticipate any problems, but this just gives a little bit more flexibility to go out and what we think is to secure the best rate for the city. We were out in the bond market today. After what happened on Friday, the issuers that were out there with a 15 basis point swing in the 10-year treasury, there was a bit of price discovery. Where is the bond market today? So those issuers out there, it was a bit choppy today, especially going on a Monday. You have what happens on Friday afternoon. If there's an international incident on a Saturday or Sunday, going on a Monday can be a little bit disadvantageous in this market. In a normal market, it's not an issue at all, especially for a highly rated issuer like yourself. So what we are recommending is to go out next week. We anticipate pricing on Wednesday and come if you give us the authority to do that tonight. So I'm glad to get into any more detail that you want on any of these items and why we've chosen this manner of sale.
When you say, when you say next week, you're talking about like the 16th, 17th?
Yeah, the
18th?
17th. We've tentatively targeted Wednesday, the 17th, to be pricing in the market. But, you know, we're not beholden to that if there's an event or something that adverse happens. But we think also going on Wednesday to the underwriters Monday, Tuesday to market it, we've targeted the 17th of next week.
Any questions from council for Mr. Cunningham? Okay. We'll open this item up for public comment. So if anyone has any questions or comments you'd like to ask staff or Mr. Cunningham, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. Okay, hearing none. Is there the pleasure of the council?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion been made by Councilmember Hurtis, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Bowers. Ms. Wilkinson, would you please call roll?
Councilmember Campos.
Aye.
Councilmember Willis.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Bowers.
Aye.
Councilmember Spradley.
Aye.
Councilmember Hurta.
Aye.
Councilmember Blakey.
Aye.
Mayor Brockman.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Appreciate you guys staying so long. Thank you. Item C, discuss and consider approval of an ordinance authorizing the issuance of City of New Braunfels, Texas Tax Notes Series 2022, authorizing the levy of an ad valorem tax in support of the notes, approving a paying agent registrar agreement and official statement and other agreements related to the sale and issuance of the notes, establishing the procedures for selling and delivering the notes, authorizing the reimbursement of certain project costs prior to the issuance of the notes, and authorizing other matters related to the issuance of the notes. Ms. Paulos.
Thanks. Also for council consideration is the issuance of a $10 million tax note to support several public safety initiatives. These initiatives are public safety radio replacement, a ladder truck replacement, Fire Station Number 5 renovation and expansion, and a police command vehicle replacement. As you will recall, at the June council retreat, direction was provided to staff to move forward with the tax note to support these initiatives as they were originally considered for the 2023 bond program. This tax note will allow for these initiatives to start earlier and not compete with 2023 bond projects, and also allow repayment over 7 years versus 20 years. These will also be sold via a parameter sale. And that's really all I have on that. If you have any questions for Ryan or me.
Questions?
I do have one question. Forgive me, this workshop, I wasn't physically feeling very well. So I may have not paid too close attention. But I understood that there was more than the tax note as options for the police radios, the ladder truck, EDC money, possibly a third party. Were those not an option, or those not a viable option, and that's why we're going with the tax note?
I believe that it was just determined this was the best option.
Yes, thank you, Councilmember Willis. Yes, these were the items specifically that both the Bond Advisory Committee and the council felt had a lower useful life, and we should be targeting maybe a different debt instrument to support them. I think the council also kind of echoed that these are hard projects to rank against your kind of long-term infrastructure projects, as Ms. Paula suggested. And so at the June 29th retreat is when we specifically got direction from the council to move forward with a public safety tax note package specifically for these 4 initiatives. The opportunity for other funding sources such as the EDC or TERS, we're kind of focused more on some of those larger infrastructure projects. And so still working on that effort as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I knew that we moved away from the bond for understandable reasons. I just thought we had more options, but it sounds like we went through them as well.
Yes, sir.
For me, this was an expense that didn't need to go on a 20-year note and to pay interest on something that could be replaced in 7 to 10 years. So that was where I was coming from when we talked about that, removing that and just being done with it in 7 years.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I understand not paying 20 years on something that's going to be end of life at 8. I I just thought we had another avenue by using EDC money or another route. But again, like I said, it looks like you went through those, and I do appreciate it. So,
If I may, these projects are not really 4B eligible projects, and so that really wasn't an option for us. It was either going through the 2023 bond program or considering the tax notes. Yes,
And
sir.
I have a quick question. Is it 10 million an overage amount to make sure all the expenses are covered because of inflation and so on and so forth?
Wait, I'm sorry. I couldn't hear.
What is it, $10 million bond?
Right.
Is that enough to cover all
It
these
is.
items?
The radio replacement's a 5.5 million project. The ladder truck is 1.8 million. The fire station renovations, 1.6 million, and the command vehicles, 450,000.
I think that was another reason for the tax note, was that we could deliver it quicker, correct? And not have to wait for the funds from the possible bond election, correct? Okay.
That's absolutely right, yes, sir.
And if we pass this tonight, we can order the fire truck tomorrow? How's that work?
So once we have the proceeds, then we'll be able to go ahead and place the order and get the order in the queue. Get actually the order in the queue for all of these items. With the exception of Fire Station 5 renovation or expansion, there would have to be some drawings for those, for that. But once that is done, we'd go out to bid and then get that started.
So that's significantly faster than a bond.
So we certainly would be able to move quickly on most of these, sir.
The only thing I would add is that the debt service associated with this tax note is incorporated into the calculated debt service tax rate. So we likely would not bring them back for your consideration until either the first meeting in September or second meeting in September for approval. Because I know we have, some of these are probably very much ready to go, especially the equipment. But we'll want to approve those in conjunction with the tax rate because they are tied together.
Any other questions of Ms. Paulus or Mr. Werner? Okay, we'll open it up for public comment. Anyone wishing to make comment on this item?
Wayne Rudolph, 1216 Shenandoah Drive, New Braunfels. Mr. Mayor, council members, City Manager Camerino. Good almost morning. I want to address this council about one item on this bond project, the expansion of Fire Station number 5. First of all, this expansion is long overdue. What I'm very concerned about is the projected construction cost of $1,304,000. What do we get for this $1.3 million? We get a 1,300 square foot lean-to building addition, about half the size of the average home. We get an upgrade of the existing living quarters and a woman's restroom facility. All this at a cost of $1,003 per square foot. Now let's compare. This council has just completed from the ground up 2 new fire stations. The cost, $388 a square foot. Also, this council has just completed construction of our new police headquarters, together with its magnificent Veterans Memorial. Its cost, $274 a square foot. So now you're asking our taxpayers to fund this Fire Station number 5 expansion, costing 2.5 times more per square foot than our 2 brand-new fire stations, and 3.5 times more than our new police facility. If this modest expansion were priced at the same rate as this council completed the fire stations, this council would be considering a cost of just $500,000, not $1.3 million. I'm now asking this council to re-examine the projected cost of this project and to explain to our taxpayers how they just built 2 brand-new fire stations for $388 a square foot, but now it needs $1,003 per square foot to construct just a modest fire station addition. Please assure our taxpayers that their hard-earned money is being spent with due diligence it deserves. I might just lay it aside. $1,003 a square foot, people, that is the most expensive building ever built in this city in 175 years. It isn't even close. I'll give you another example. I just built a brand new federal courthouse in downtown San Antonio. A federal courthouse. I don't know what it's built of, but I'll guarantee you, and you know it, it's got marble facing, terrazzo floors, solid walnut woodwork, $500 a square foot, and they just moved into it. Why? Why? $1,003 a square foot. It is unconscionable. Also, $250,000 for specifications. They're building a lean-to storage shed. What's going in it? The uniform, the protective uniforms for the firemen, a storage space, and a fitness center for the firemen. And they're redoing the living quarters, which are probably well used. I just don't understand it. Our people are begging for relief from taxes. You heard it all night. I've been sitting here listening to it. And you sit here and spend the most expensive building ever built in this city.
Mr. Rudolph, your time is up. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. Please, gentlemen, study this project before you go on. Thank you.
David Warmke, 472 Sealy, New Braunfels, Texas. You know, I describe my spiritual path, one in the twilight zone. And I am sitting here, it is August 8th, 2022. 4 days ago, I was at the fire station, and I asked that very question to the architects and one of the firemen. He said, it's an answer. Have you had a wedding plan lately? You look at the cost of wedding photographs, it's $200 to get a normal photograph taken, unless it's a wedding, and it's $600. And that was his answer, because it's a city thing, and they'll know they'll get the money. That was the answer. And the architects were saying, yeah, we're talking about that too. Now, I've been sitting here, feels like I've been here a year tonight, and I'm sort of tired. But I've just gone to these meetings about proposed 2023 bonds, and we're here, I believe, in 2022, talking about pulling the trigger to buying those bonds this week. Is that correct? Is that what we're talking about here? Sure, sounds like it. It is
Not the 2023 bonds.
these are not the 2023
Not the
bonds.
2023.
Okay.
No, it's just a tax note for $10 million. It's not the
Okay, this-
$144 million
So how do these relate to
2023
what's on the
bond,
bond
Mr.
package?
Warnke.
Because this is what's on the bond package, some of the items that are on the bond
This
package.
one's been taken off.
Oh, they were taken off.
This was
Okay.
taken off because it's a depreciable asset that's not going to last
Okay,
20 years.
So what's on the website is taken off of, 'cause
I don't know. I have not looked at the website.
on the website, okay. So now I understand it, okay. Well, good, thank you. God bless you. That was a interesting evening.
I would like to also point out, doing it this way, you get these items, emergency services items, way quicker than if it goes to a 2023.
Well, while I'm here, let me give you a little bit of feedback. You know, I went the other day and I made the rounds. There are three things in life that are certain: death, taxes, and if you live in Texas, if you build a road, you should have built another lane. This is the third time we have added on to that fire station. We built it, we added on once, we added on again. And it started out tiny. And then we keep adding on piece by piece by piece. It makes no sense to build like that. You know, we are in a town, we know there's growth, and why do we plan something that is minimal? And we seem to do it with fire stations a lot, and then add to it later. We do that with roads, we do that with a lot of things. It's hard to envision planning in planning documents and envision documents where we can't seem to build something right the first time. We have to keep enlarging it piecemeal by piecemeal at incredibly large dollar amounts. It makes no sense. And you wouldn't build your house like that. I mean, you might if you had to. You'd build a little bit and then go on, but we don't have to do it like that. Thank you. God bless you. Thanks for all you do. I won't have an encore on that. I'm done.
Anyone else?
I might do that if I had 2 kids to begin with and had 6 later. I might add on to my house like that.
Yeah.
I might do that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't go in buying a 4,000 square foot house with a kid, you know, but if I had 6 kids, I might, but I'd have to add on to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's easy to say that from where you're at,
Yeah.
you know?
Well,
It is easy to say
you
that,
know,
Mr. Warnke.
some of those first fire
Get
stations.
behind this desk.
Some of those first fire stations, they were a room with 4 cots in there. They didn't have separate rooms. I mean, I find that to be pretty basic. I'm not sure that I would have started there. But you're right, it is easy in hindsight to do that. But I think it's also a little bold to say, you know, I think we're going to have growth continued for a while. And the old German thing, whenever I build something, I overbuild. And it usually works. Just thought, thank you. God bless you. See you in 2 weeks and hope my technology works.
Any other questions?
I have a quick question for Ms. Paulus. Is the 1.3 for fire station, is that just an earmarked amount? That's not like what we're actually going to spend?
I don't know that that's,
Mayor and council,
that's-
the scope of the project, as well as the
Right.
project cost, is being refined. We're in preliminary design.
Right.
And so that is an estimate at this point. So it may be more, it may be a little less, but that's just a planning number at this point.
Yeah, I thought so. That's where I wanted to make sure people understood that's not necessarily the
engineer.
exact number, the true cost, but we could come under just depending on how we get it done.
And isn't 10 million also an estimate as well, right? It's an overage amount of what these things cost.
There is some contingency built into this tax note because, as you all have seen and have heard, things are costing more today than they have in the past, so there is some contingency built into that.
So if we don't spend the 10 million, let's say we spend 9 million, what happens to the extra million?
We'll be able to allocate it to other public safety needs for both police and fire.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
And I think would only be fair to be noted, and I'm sorry that Mr. Rudolph left, but somebody help me. When the police station and the Veterans Memorial and the 2 fire stations were engineered and put on the books to be built at $269 a square foot and $388 a square foot, how many years ago was that? And just thinking about the increase in goods and services since that time, may not be $800, but it's going to be significantly more anyway. So also talking about a lean-to, I think there were 2 options on those drawings. Is that correct? One appeared to be just on the side by the bays. The other is the entire length from front to back of the building with some renovations in the back and complete renovation to the kitchen. And so I think it was severely misrepresented in his presentation. I wish he was still here, but I will call him tomorrow and let him know what I think about, or what I have to say about the the presentation, because I think there's some concern. I'd be concerned too, but when you look at the difference in cost, you don't mention, well, that was done 2 or 3 years ago, the planning for that. So, or I saw 2 plans, and maybe I just spoke about the lean-to, as he called it. And so I think we need to be very aware of these items because of, like you said, Councilmember Spradley, these are important items to get done quickly because it is public service. It is our firemen, firewomen, and our police. So thank you for letting me. Okay, is any other public comments? Okay, thank you, Ms. Potts, for your help. What's the pleasure of council?
Move for approval.
Second.
Councilmember Spradley moves for approval of agenda item 3C, seconded by Councilmember Herta. Ms. Wilkinson, would you please call roll?
Councilmember Campos.
Aye.
Councilmember Willis.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Bowers.
Aye.
Councilmember Spradley.
Aye.
Councilmember Hurta.
Aye.
Councilmember Blakey.
Aye.
Mayor Brockman.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Item 3D, discuss and consider the